back in the bedroom, and we've got a few housekeeping items. We can call this a housekeeping post-games video. I want to talk about James Sprague and his exclusion from Tyr Wadapalooza SoCal. I want to talk about Ben Bergeron. I want to talk about the numbers of the YouTube channels or lack thereof during the CrossFit Games. I want to talk about the WFP. And I want to talk about MoveMax. There might be a couple other ones I can't remember, but we're going to sprinkle in some viewer comments throughout this whole video because, boy, were they entertaining during the CrossFit Games. Tyler Wynn, 418. If you're worried about 1 minute and 26 seconds in to my video, you need to see a psychiatrist. Well, Tyler, I'm taking a look at your page right now, and your playlist seems to feature Justin Bieber Live, kayak fishing in a swamp in West Tennessee. That's actually kind of cool. A bunch of Hans Zimmer stuff. 13 creepiest abandoned Soviet-era places. Wild boar kill shots compilation. Well, freak. I think I kind of like you.
Did we just become best friends?
Yup!
Maybe I do need to see a psychiatrist, Tyler. Hey, babe, can you tell the psychiatrist I need to see her earlier this month? Nope, it's not about whether or not James is the fittest. That got fixed. Nope, it's not about kale. Hang on, I'll come in there. Babe, what's it about? All right, listen up, Tyler, 418. No more Mr. Nice Guy. I'll hunt you like a wild boar if you ever disrespect us on that YouTube. If you ever disrespect us on our YouTube again, it's not going to be Grant that's coming for you. It's going to be me. So shut your little trap or I will find you and I will destroy... By the way, dudemeds.com so you can have energy and feel like a man. Messed with my chair. That's weird. All right, Tyler. I mean, technically rules should matter at the highest level. So when you got one athlete and their hand is moving 3 feet before either feet even leave the ground, basically. But yep, it's fine. I got my appointment schedule. It's a me thing. I'm good to go, Tyler. Don't worry about it. Have fun hunting your boar. You can listen to Justin Bieber while you hunt the boar.
Everything you want, hey girl, let me talk to you. If I was your boyfriend.
If you want a brand new pair of large frog grips and you want a free thirds ET, I have medium and large. Whoever messages me first on Instagram, also put a comment down below using the code KIR for 20% off at Thirdsy. That person, I will mail you that stuff. I use it every night for sleep. It's great. Code KIR. Back to the show. Keeping it a bit lighthearted, Pedro came out with a reel making fun of MoveMax, essentially. And all I have to say is that it brought every suspicion that I have to fruition, essentially, for me. It's very clear that it seems that this Malik gentleman who was supposed to buy CrossFit has MoveMax. Somehow Facundo was involved, Froning was involved, all this freaking stuff, needs more money, needs private equity, doesn't have CrossFit bought yet, nobody knows what's going on. All I know is that I was suspicious from day one when they used Comic Sans. Who uses Comic Sans who's going to buy a company? It may not be exactly Comic Sans, but it's close enough. And with each post and information that came out, I got more suspicious. I just know that something seemed off. And maybe it's not off. Maybe they will buy it. That's fine. As long as they stop using Comic Sans and doing double Chad.
With a bouncer.
They made a post about doing double Chad at the games in the back and talked about this being MoveMax somehow. If that's MoveMax, then MoveMax is closer to the Catholic doctrine of purgatory than it is to CrossFit. Purgatory is the place where Catholics say you're not good enough, so you got to go to purgatory and get tortured a little bit or work your way out or something to get to heaven. That's double Chad. They also posted a triangle the other day, and in that triangle, it had CrossFit, MoveMax in the middle, CrossFit up here, High Rocks down here, and triathlons down here, I think, or something like that, which just doesn't make any sense. Other really weird things from day one, they follow me. I've seen them view my stories at least, and I'm pretty sure they follow me, and they have my meme. I made a meme with AI, just a static meme, and they have the same meme that I made in AI that was custom made, and they just changed the words on it, which I really don't care about. I thought that was weird. They took my meme, it looks like. I formally give you guys permission to use my meme. It's fine. There's no hard feelings. It's just that with all the other stuff, it's all weird. And then lastly today, they posted a benchmark, and it was like you pinch your nose and hold your breath and see how long you can do it. After exhaling, do you really want to take a breath? Time that is very subjective. I mean, I wanted to take a breath after like 4 seconds. Who doesn't want to breathe? I didn't want to hold my breath. It says like 40 seconds is advanced.
With a bouncer.
I don't believe that anybody on the planet was plugging their nose for 40 seconds and just sitting there like, I don't even want to take a breath. I don't like that story. I don't like double Chad, and I don't like Comic Sans. So if you're buying CrossFit, you better have some help, or you better get your act together. Moving on to James Sprague and the insanity that is the Tyr Cup, which is Wodapalooza SoCal, essentially. Now, if you look really closely, you may see some subtle differences. They did start calling Wodapalooza in Miami Tyr Wodapalooza this year. Media was sure to add it in if they forgot to say Tyr Wodapalooza or Tyr WZA. But it seems like Tyr Cup in California is really an exhibition of Tyr athletes, and like they hold a lot more control over that event. Now, when I take a look at this list of the athletes, a lot of these are Tyr athletes, and you gotta wonder why somebody like Vellner would be there if we're looking for the best of the best, which I'm not necessarily sure that we are. If you put somebody in there who's popular, but is clearly at a different skill level right now, it's gonna look stupid. And when we're talking about Patrick Vellner versus somebody like James Sprague right now, that's exactly what it is. It's stupid.
What you just said.
And I'm a huge fan of Patrick Vellner. He's one of my favorite all time. But we're talking about the fittest man alive from last year.
With a bouncer.
We're talking about somebody who followed up that campaign with being the third fittest. With how poorly Jeff Adler did this year, there's really only 3 people who can make a claim to have as much prestige as James Sprague the last 2 years. And that's Hopper, who was what, 1st and 5th, I think, maybe 4th. And Dallin Pepper, who is 2nd and 4th. And then you got Sprague, 1st and 3rd. I'm going to change that statement. There is nobody the last 2 years who has proven themselves more. And people like him. Sure, there's a 10% corner of Reddit, people in their basement who hate James Sprague.
Reddit is the bile of the stomach where the idiots from Twitter go to break down and become feces.
Or hate him because he talks about Bible verses on the mics, whatever. But for the most part, he's a young guy who brings energy into the sport and is absolutely electric. You must be out of your freaking minds.
Our pets' heads are falling off!
Guess you don't want to make money. Not to mention when you've got Hopper, Pepper, and Medeiros there, and you've got Sprague, who's a regular addition to their podcast. Those 4 guys and their chemistry, 3 of them from Brute, and you're not going to put them on a team?
What you just said.
Now, I've talked to a few people, and I like Dylan a lot, and I think at this event, I don't think Dylan has the final say, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't think it's Dylan who would leave James out. And James said on the Savan podcast that it's not his agent. There were rumors that Tyr doesn't like his agent. James Sprague won the CrossFit Games in your shoe. You know what I heard? From a pretty darn good source. They just don't like Sprague, and they never have. But that's okay. If you read between the lines and you see James at the Adidas dinner with all the other signed athletes at the CrossFit Games and you see what he's been wearing for the last 6 months or so, when he is officially signed with Adidas, which he will be, I'm guessing, in the next few weeks, sure seems like a better fit than somebody like Tyr if they're going to treat him like that. Not to mention that he won Wodapalooza in Miami. And yes, James was not sent an invite. It wasn't lost in his mailbox. Speaking of James Sprague, it can't be. He said he would never do it.
2024 CrossFit Games did not crown the fittest on earth.
Did he do it?
You will never be able to change my mind on this, and good luck trying.
Even I can't handle this emotional roller coaster. Andrew Hiller made a video talking about the games, and his number one, I think it was like positives and negatives or whatnot, his number one positive to come out of it was that James taking 3rd solidifies himself as the fittest man on earth from last year.
Damn, this one hurts. Put up a video after that game saying that he was not the fittest on earth. I pushed back on a couple of people, namely one of those being Keeping It Real Grant, saying that yeah, he's not the fittest on earth because they ruined the test of fitness. And I do believe that it verifies his 2024 fittest on earth claim.
And I couldn't be more happy. James Sprague is one of, if not my favorite athlete, and I wanted him to win to vindicate himself from those who said that he had an asterisk last year because the test was changed and because of all the things that were surrounding the CrossFit Games and people who dropped out and whatnot. I thought nothing would change Andrew's mind. I thought maybe if he won, he would come out and say James really was the fittest, but it turns out that he had it in his head that if James was top 5, that would validate his performance from last year. And oddly enough, I don't actually think it changes anything about the original argument that Hiller had. It's not that he was saying James for sure wasn't the fittest. I don't believe. I think he was just saying we can't know who really is. So on one hand, you still had a flawed test that had the potential to have somebody win who was not the fittest. And technically, I would say that still holds true with the arguments that Hiller made. But on the other hand, we were really fortunate that afterwards, the person who did win went on to prove that they really were that fit. I don't know if that made any sense. On to the next comment. At Santiago Rios 4484, it was a fantastic competitive test of fitness. Is this whole lethany necessary? Well, I looked it up and I don't believe that lethany is actually a word. I think what you meant to say was litany.
What you just said.
Now, the definition of litany is a long, repetitive list or series of grievances. I don't know what video you were watching. At Salty Sal 8852, the amount of Andrew Hiller comments, period. Do your podcast, big dog. Well, first off, this is not a podcast. This is a video.
What you just said.
Secondly, dude, I'm not going to judge you on your playlists, which features your literally custom titled SARM knowledge playlist, beer playlist, America's Got Talent, the TV show playlist, and your Big Booty Poppin' playlist. Craziest mix of playlist names I have ever seen on YouTube. I think I kind of like you too. And the answer is no. Respectfully, I'll just Hiller. I don't care. No, I'll say what I want. But thank you for your comment. Please like and subscribe. At Hanby, how's it feel to have more views and comments than Talking Elite Fitness? And I did find that on the first day of the CrossFit Games, I put out a video very late. Amanda Hari put one out an hour earlier than me at about 1 a.m, and so did Talking Elite Fitness. And by far, it had the least views. Now, I do believe that that's a result of the way that they talk about the CrossFit season leading up to it, and then kind of the switcheroo that they pull as soon as it's time to do content surrounding the games, which will get a lot of views during the games. And this is my topic at hand. You've got Brian Friend, who's doing it as well. He's got the CrossFit Games recap show with PC that's sort of presented as, well, PC went, I'm going to talk to PC back and forth about what happened at the games, but he ends up chiming in. Some of these outlets, you can't just do that. You can't say the things that you said. You literally tried to burn this thing to the ground. The emotional statements that came out of some of these places, you cannot come back from without making some sort of clarification. Mike Halpin said a lot of things. Now, I don't have Mike Halpin's old stories, but I seem to remember some pretty freaking hardcore stuff against HQ, and then he's covering the games too on his stories. And Talking Elite Fitness was pretty vocal as well, and they're covering the games now. You can't say it's morally wrong for me to participate in this, and then suddenly, when it comes around and you get more views covering it, you're participating in it. You kind of have to come out and say, okay, I actually am going to cover the games, and this is why. And you either have to share the new information that changed your mind. I once thought it was immoral to participate in this. I don't any longer because of A, B, and C. Or I was emotional. I shouldn't have said those things. I do want to cover the games. I'm moving on. What you can't do is what you did.
What you just said.
But I think people are catching on to that, which is why I want to talk about the YouTube numbers for these various channels during the games and how many subscribers they gained and lost and the views that they got, because you can see a clear trend. There are a few channels that we would classify as neutral or slanting negative towards CrossFit HQ and the CrossFit games. Those are Talking Elite Fitness, Be Friendly, and Morning Chalk Up, which just started back up with a new podcast, which is probably a little bit more neutral, I would say. And then on the CrossFit positive side, who ultimately thought that it was okay to support HQ and the Open and the affiliates and the games, we've got Glinton Things, Savan, Hiller, Coffee Pots and Wads, Barbell Spin, Get With The Programming, Wad Prep, Boys Interrupted, Dave Castro, Amanda Hari. Now the other one's Talking Elite Fitness, negative 100 subscribers. The point is they lost 100 or more subscribers during the game season when they were talking about the games. Maybe because of that old switcheroo from critiquing the games to suddenly covering it. Be Friendly got 70 subs, and I think that this is a little bit deceiving because he gets subs when he covers an event, when he actually does the live footage of the event. He did the Monster Games, and I think he got subs from that. But either way, he only gained 70, which is less than every single one on this list. And Morning Chalk Up, to be fair, just started getting going again with their podcast with Sean Woodland and John Woolley. They had 12,000 views. And gained 0 subs. Yeah, and as I look at it, 14,000 of those views were from In the Box Office and from the Monster Games, and then the rest are from Metcon Rush, which was another event that he covered. So definitely on the lower end. And I think that tells you all that you need to know, that people can sniff out the insincerity when they see somebody take a moral stance, a hard moral stance, and then suddenly over time, it just evaporates without any explanation. I think that's going to result in a loss of viewership, period. And all of the channels that stuck to their guns, that had a consistent theme throughout, all of those people gained subs, got views, thankfully were rewarded for having a consistent stance. World Fitness Project, 55,000 views. CrossFit Games, 7.8 million. 700 subs added. 20,000 subs added. You will see the same thing when they go to Tour Stop 2 in Arizona, which is my next topic. But first, let's get into a couple more comments. Jay Parker 4804, he showed up on 2 of my videos talking about handstand walking. Handstand events are laughable and have nothing to do with fitness. Literally don't care about Tia not visiting New York for any reason. Events 6 and 7 ruined the games. Did I mention that handstand events have nothing to do with fitness?
What you just said.
I bet you are the life of the party, J.R. Parker. You know, I don't even want to click on your YouTube to see what you're watching. And there's another guy who talks about how rugby people and all these different sports are more fit than CrossFitters. But you guys didn't define fitness. Handstand walking absolutely falls into fitness, big time. That's why it's one of the last things that you would master in a classroom setting along with ring muscle ups. Work capacity across broad time and modal domains means you're good at everything, so you're prepared for anything. That's why we call it functional. Ce la fia. It's okay to get beat by a girl? WTF. Yeah, it is. It's okay to get beat by Tia on a run. If you're a dude at the CrossFit Games, you shouldn't get beat by her in lifting or in anything else requiring strength. Men and women are built differently. They weigh less. They have smaller muscles. Beach House CrossFit, in memoriam. Not cool or humorous, bro. We've weeded some people out.
I will remember you.
I never said they were dead. They're just gone. Sheesh. At Wood Cipher. First, it was being a ripoff of Hiller. Now stealing In the Box Office's theme. Zero originality. They mean hot or not. And they don't realize that I've already done that setup like twice.
What you just said.
Or I did buy or sell. I did some variation of it. Dude Acts Like Hot or Not was invented by In the Box Office. That's like saying if I made a top 10 list, I'm doing a ripoff. As if top 10 lists hasn't been around since newspapers existed. I wonder when I can find the first Hot or Not article. I can guarantee you it wasn't them that invented it.
It's one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
The more and more I see from the WFP, the more I'm being convinced that it is not going to make it very far.
Mercury creating something amazing for just the global fitness community.
Prestige worldwide.
There's just a total disconnect. We talk about the numbers, and CrossFit is absolutely smashing them in numbers on YouTube, which is why I believe that they aren't on YouTube, because we can see that, and we could see that they were getting beat. I'm just saying that it's crazy that their documentary for Tour Stop 1,
Not just one specific community.
Is that my boat?
Just finding my passion.
got less views than Amanda Hari and my video did for day one summary of the CrossFit Games.
Help people through fitness.
What are you doing on my boat? That's my boat.
And they're paying a lot of money for this production.
Brandon, break him up a little.
Who's steering the boat?
And isn't it kind of weird that when they post these collaborations with the athletes, like they did with Jason Hopper, that they don't say winner of the CrossFit Games? Are you like afraid to say it? That's weird. That's marketing in your favor. And the stuff that leaked, I think some stuff leaked to the barbell spin. I was told that it was leaked on purpose as a marketing tactic during the CrossFit Games.
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
But I don't think that worked either, if that's indeed what happened, or might have just been trying to save face. But 100%, what Will said is that those leaks were on purpose during the CrossFit Games to get attention that weekend. That's what was said. Some people think that Tour Stop 1 was just the first time, the first iteration, and it's only going to get better. I think the opposite. I think it got interest because it was new, and Tour Stop 2 is going to be bad. Even if it's well run and it looks good, I don't think it's going to do good. And if I'm proven wrong, that's fine. That's just what I think, based on what I'm seeing. And lastly, we have Ben Bergeron, or Benedict Ben, as I like to call him, because of, well, this guy made a stupid video the other day talking about how CrossFit used to be crazy Olympic lifts and ring muscle ups.
That was then, this is now. Then was CrossFit. It was about swinging on rings, walking on your hands, and doing these crazy Olympic lifts.
But now it's for the everyday person. It's just insane. Then he walked it back and tried to re-clarify things. But it's not just that. It's that your comp train, and you were known for having competitors. You have no competitors anymore, so now you pivot to make money off something that looks like traditional CrossFit, and you try to act like it's new and kind of rip CrossFit in the process, just like you did in the two interviews, one for Talking Elite Fitness and one for somebody else, when you talked about your de-affiliation 6 months ago. And maybe your character just never really changed from when you failed a drug test back in 2010 at the Games for a banned substance. Because what I'm seeing is a guy who is looking to make money off a program at any cost. Ben Bergeron is a joke. There's not enough time to get into him right now. To be honest, he probably deserves his own video because this one's too long. So if anything, I'll see you then.
That was then, this is now. Then was CrossFit. It was about swinging on rings, walking on your hands, and doing these crazy Olympic lifts.
No, that was a competition program. This is normal CrossFit. Swinging on rings and Olympic lift. There's literally 3 shots where you've got rings in the background and they're doing Olympic snatches at the end of the video.
Trying to get athletes to compete and win.
Bro, you're not describing CrossFit then and now. You're describing your career then and now.
It still produces incredible results, but it's made for people like you and me. Busy people who want to get in, get out in an hour.
When I saw this at first, I thought it was a skit. I thought it was like a funny meme, and I'm like, oh, this guy's funny. Who is this guy? And then I realized that it was actually just Ben Bergeron and that he's aged 20 years in the last 3.
Welcome to
CrossFit. The best hour of your day. This is CrossFit.